one of these days I'm going to learn to turn my microphone on. See, I left it in front mic for a reason, and that's so that I don't turn my microphone off, because if I leave it in stereo mix, it'll pick up everything, and still I forget to turn my microphone off. I turn my microphone on to talk. So I'm going to leave my microphone button alone here on Spreaker, because it does take forever to just go click, click, click. I know I can do double click, but what happens is if I turn my microphone off and then I start talking, I forget to turn my microphone on when I come out of the break. So I've got to just leave it alone. Unless I am in stereo mix, I am just going to leave my microphone open. That's all there is to it here on Spreaker. But anyhow, as I was saying earlier, coming up this hour, I got some more good stuff here. So I thought what we'll do is continue talking the rest of the hour about my program schedule and what's coming up on GJRB Online and everything, and let you know what I got rigged up. It takes a while to really plan this thing out as far as radio shows are concerned, because like I said before, it's taken a lot of work to put together a really neat radio schedule, and it's been kind of on the frustrating side. So I consulted, and like I said, I went to my new worker, and he's helping me out with this, and so I've decided to kind of frame my schedule up just a little bit better and come up with new ideas on when to go on the air and what days to go on the air, and mix it up with what I got planned in production. So it's working out okay, and I just needs a little bit of tweaking is all it really needs, and to plan our programming schedule. And it will be really, really great when I get up to that 3-hour plan, because then with the continuous 3-hour live broadcasts, I can do stuff with my programs, and I can have continuous programming on the air daily. Unless, again, if I'm doing production, you will not hear our radio station at all. If I've got production to do, and like I said before, it'll also depend on postings. Now, as you will know, a lot of you people who follow the programming and listen to our station know that when we get off the air at the end of each show, I post the schedule of what is coming up in the next few days on GJRB Online. I usually go up to about a week. And then we'll post at the bottom, all programs are subject to change. Program schedule subject to change. I put it right underneath. That's a disclaimer. Just means that things could change, and they usually do. And due to family events, circumstances, and again, what I'm going to be doing with my friend Brian throughout that period. The summer is going to be a little different too, I'm sure. So, like I said before, I will be posting at the end of each program what is going to be on the air, what I'm going to have on the air that week, so that you know. Other than that, it's going to be whatever, whenever, and we're still going to do spontaneous stuff in between. So that's how that's going to work. And so, anyhow, why don't we we're going to get ready now, because I want to talk about the weather again. Weather on the fives right now, so let's get started and take a look at some temperatures across America right now. And we're going to do that. Take a look at some temperatures. 69 degrees and sunny right now in Los Angeles, California. Des Moines, Iowa checking in with 45 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Salem, Massachusetts, 53, partly and sunny. Going over to Paducah, Kentucky. Paducah, Kentucky is checking in at 52 degrees, and it's raining there. 79 degrees and sunny in Houston, Texas. And as you head down toward Fairbanks, Alaska, you guys are at 26 degrees and cloudy. Well, it's probably dark down there already, I think. Well, let's see what time it is there. Anyway, let's see what we got. Houston, Texas, Florida, Clinton. Got a few Clintons on there. Back home in Ambridge, it's 48 degrees and sunny. Tampa, Florida is checking in at 85 degrees and partly cloudy. Provo, Utah is 54 degrees and partly cloudy. Montejo, North Carolina, checking in at 60 degrees and fair. Portland, Oregon, 52 degrees and partly cloudy. Billings, Montana is 22 with cloudy skies. Dallas, Texas, 76 degrees and mostly cloudy. And Port St. Lucie, Florida, 83 degrees, nice and warm down there right now. Port St. Lucie. 83 degrees. And we'll take a look at your weather coming up next hour. Weather on the fives, 25 and 45 past the hour on all music shows, 25 and 55 talk shows. And we'll check in with our friends at Weather Nation coming up next hour. So, see what's going on nationally with a lot of the fires going down. Boy, I saw a lot of really horrible pictures of that fire. That is so terrible down there. I feel bad for those people. They are going through a lot of... It's terrible. And I'm hoping that everybody's going to be okay down there, because that is not a fun trip. Really not a fun thing when you got that stuff going on, It's terrible. And I hope that everything's going to be all right with everybody down there. So we'll take a look at that coming up. And you're listening to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. We're going to continue on. I got some more good stuff coming up for you as we do our midweek edition of the Gary Russen program show here on GJRB Online. Got more stuff coming up your way. Hope you'll stay with me. And we'll talk a lot about some neat stuff we got planned out here for you on GJRB Online. Meanwhile, let's take a look at what is going on GJRB Online this week on GJRB. And coming up this week, we'll be on the air possibly tomorrow. Not sure yet. It's going to be at the Church of Christ Studios with our Positive Rock Show. And then Friday is the last 7 days. And we'll follow it up by Way Out There at 3 o'clock Central Time. Last 7 days. And like I said, we'll be on the air either 1 or 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, depending on how that goes. And then Saturday, depending on where the Hawkeyes are at, we should be hearing the Gary Russen program Saturday Extra at 3 o'clock. Tune in to GJRB.
Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them, help them. And if it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. Your call will be answered by a trained counselor in a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help.
There's a problem on our roads today, and that is the safety of our children boarding and getting off the bus on busy roads. That problem is drivers who don't stop for a school bus when the arm is out, the lights are flashing, and the stop sign is out, leaving kids in danger of getting hit. Violators of this law could get a suspension of their driver's license and a $250 fine. When you see a school bus stop at a corner, letting off kids, stop 25 feet away from the bus. Don't take that chance. A public service announcement from the National Highway Safety Administration and GJRB Online. This is the station from North Clinton, giving you the best in music variety on the nation's top podcast platform, the greatest platform on the planet, Spreaker. This is GJRB Online, the GJRB Online Network.
Yeah, you better believe we are. We're the best in GJRB Online. I'll tell you that right now. GJRB here on Spreaker, coming up close to it. 4 o'clock Central Daylight Time, or Central Standard Time right now. I gotta remember to say that. We're not on Daylight Time anymore. We changed that this past weekend. We are now an hour behind. So, we moved our clocks back 1 hour, unless you are one of those that didn't do it. Oh, boy. Anyway, it is 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. 4 o'clock right now. It's 3 o'clock Mountain and 2 o'clock Pacific right now. And, of course, 5 o'clock Eastern Time. And you are listening to the Gary Russen program.
From America's Heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa.
And this is the Gary Russen program, midweek edition. 4 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone. And Gary J. Russen with you. Hope you're enjoying us here on Spreaker. We had Blake Myers in the last hour. He kind of disappeared in the corner there somewhere, but I think I know he's busy in his garage. I know that for a fact because he's got that garage going for him, and it's fabulous. And what a great place to work, I imagine. Anyway, we're going to get into some news here and find out what's going on nationwide news. So we're going to do that right now. It's our news and comment right now here on GJRB Online. And some of the stories we're going to have coming up for you this afternoon in the GJRB News Desk, as I will be along with that, our scroll through social media and some of the news that's going on. We're going to go down the line. So let's start off with that.
Let's scroll through social media.
That means we go through Facebook and Twitter and MeWe and all the social sites, bringing you the latest news, what's going on nationwide, and seeing what's happening in national news right now here on GJRB Online as we kind of go through this. So we're going to kind of find the news headlines and stories that we're covering for you this afternoon in the GJRB News Desk. ABC News, this is according to Wayne S. Pierce. Now, this is his podcast. Wayne S. Pierce is a fabulous radio station. Support it. I wish I could financially support stations, but I really can't. I would support your station, Wayne. Wayne's got a great station. It's called New West Radio Theater, and he's a really good political news commentator to talk host, and he's got some interesting stories here. Wayne S. Pierce posts ABC News claims story on Epstein was accidentally thrown out, then shredded into tiny pieces and incinerated. This is satire, according to what he's saying here. He's posted satire, so I'm going to kind of clip past that. I'm going to go further down the line here a little bit and see what else we got here. A lot of Wayne's postings seem to be satire. Let's see if we can find any more news stories. Usually, sometimes CBN has some. If not, we'll revert to some of the stories we did save on our podcast there for our podcast today. And we're just going to go with some of the latest news. But from Fox, Kentucky Governor Matt Belvin holds a presidential conference. Listen to some of this. This is live going on right now. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what that's about, but it's according to this, I have a story here on this. Republican Matt Belvin asked on Wednesday for a re-canvass of the Kentucky elections resulting that showed him more than 5,000 votes ahead of Democrat Andy Beshear, B-E-S H-E-A-R, Beshear, who discounted the challenge and began preparing to take office. Beshear is the state's attorney general, said that he is confident that the election outcome, saying that any review would show he won a hard-fought campaign. Quoting Beshear in a news conference, whatever process that the governor chooses to go down, it's going to change the overall number of votes. He goes on to say that we're going to take these steps to move forward and to make sure that we are ready and that we're the day of inauguration. With 100% precincts reporting Beshear, and by a little more over 5,000 votes, more than 1.4 million counted, or a margin of less than 0.4% points inside the margin that would trigger a recount of most states. And it's AP policy not to call races that could go on to a recount. Although there is no mandatory recount law in Kentucky, the AP is applying that same standard here. Belvin's campaign manager, Davis Payne, said that Kentuckians deserve a fair and honest election, adding that we are exercising the right to ensure very lawful vote in accounting. Kentucky Secretary of State Allison Lundgren Grimes scheduled a recanvass on November 14th, and is a check of the vote to count and ensure that the results added correctly. So it sounds like there's a count issue there in the Kentucky races. They're saying that said that there was 5,000 votes and that this guy was going to take office, but there seems to be a conflict of interest, I guess, or conflict there in the calculation of the elections. And that's according to the Fox News. You just heard that. You're listening right now to the press conference going on live right now in Kentucky over this. So why don't we hear just a little bit more, and we'll go into another story. Okay, obviously I did not have my stereo mix open to bring you that, but let me see if I can just bring that up again. I'm going to bring it back into stereo
quick because I forgot to turn that on, and I'm playing and going, wait a minute, I would not be hearing, nobody would be hearing this. So I got the stereo mix on. Dummy me, should forget to do that. You're listening to the recount going on right now, and you're listening to a press conference out of Kentucky.
The best unemployment we've ever had, lowest ever. Most people working in our history. Greatest amount of revenue ever coming in. greatest amount of exports of our products going to the marketplace, greatest amount of capital being invested in the state in the last 4 years. All these things are good, and it is critical to us as a Commonwealth and to my family's future who lives here and their kids as they have them, to be able to live in a state where we continue this momentum, because Kentucky's upside is extraordinary, and I want to make sure that it continues on the right trajectory. So I appreciate you all being here. I really do. Stay tuned. This process will unfold. Again, to reiterate, the recanvassing process happens not based on when people want it to, but literally by the letter of the law. We had up until next Tuesday to ask for the recanvass to keep things moving quickly. We've already asked for it, but by law it will end up happening at 9
Yeah.
a.m.
Let me see if I can get this straight. I forgot. I didn't have my stereo mix on before, so I was playing nothing. But yeah, what you're listening to is a recount. They want to do a recount. I'm going to go to that. Where's my Facebook? Darn it. Come on now. I'm going to shut that up right now. What you're listening to is a press conference, and I didn't have my mic open in time, so you didn't hear all of it. But they're having a recount in Kentucky over the governor's race. Apparently, they're saying that. Let me see if we can get this, get that story back over here. I'm going to go to my history where I have it up there. But what they're saying is, Belvin wants a recount of the votes because this Beshear, I don't even pronounce it, Beshear. Apparently, and I'm waiting for it to come up again, and it's not coming up. Oh, here it is. Apparently, Beshear, there's like a 5,000. There's a Matt Belvin. Here we go. Said on Wednesday, they want a recanvass of the Kentucky elections because there's a 5,000. They claim that. Where is that part of that article now? I can't find it. Whatever process, they said the governor, something about 5,000. One guy took office, had 5,000 vote, and they want to recount to make sure that that is correct. 100% of the precincts reported that Beshear led a little more than 5,000 votes and more than $1.4 million counted in the margin less than 4% of the points inside the margin, which I don't understand all that, but basically they're saying that I guess they want to make sure that this was counted correctly. Happens to all. It goes, if there is an election and there are Democrats, there will always be irregularities, which you're more than likely right. This is an interesting story. I didn't know that they were having that election problem. Here in Clinton, Iowa, they just elected a new mayor. We had Violet, I can't remember, Violet, whatever her name was. But anyway, so we have a new mayor here in Clinton. And I had to really, the city elections here in Clinton, Iowa, I didn't really follow that much because I really wasn't on top of it. And I know it wouldn't really, a lot of people here wouldn't really care about that because you're where you're at, I'm where I'm at. So, I mean, really, I didn't really follow that. Local elections here, but I know Mike on his podcast was interviewing their covering their local elections. So I don't know. I maybe next year we'll see what happens. But I think next year is going to be the interesting races. Absolutely. Anyway, you're listening to the Gary Russen program on GGRB Online. We started our show off with Blake Myers. He was in here earlier. He kind of disappeared on us, but we welcome in the Caramel Conservative Ed Delgado into the studio. Yeah, I'm sorry about not catching your show yesterday. I was kind of tired yesterday. I was not. I was up early. I've been kind of worn down. I'm kind of dealing with some new medication, and they adjusted my thyroid. My thyroid was really low, and they think that was the reason why I was so tired all the time. My thyroid was down to they said it was 33, something like that. It was real low. And that was the reason why I was tired. And they put me on a different, under a different strength. They kind of, I don't understand what all this thyroid is. I quite don't understand it even now. But what it is they had to adjust my thyroid, so they had to drop the dosage I'm in now. Okay, and they had to, in order to increase my thyroid, they had to drop the strength of my pills, is what they had to do. So now I'm down to 0.112 micrograms, and I'm just adjusting to that. Oh yeah, not a problem. I know that feeling. I know that feeling when you need to rest and you need to spend time with loved ones, and that's most important. But I will be catching your podcast later. I usually do listen to that, and of course, as you will know, I do plan on re-airing that on the here on my 9-foot Spreaker FM 88.9. I usually replay it. So either way, I'll hear your program from yesterday as a podcast. That's definite. Anyway, let's see what else we have coming up. As I was talking at the beginning of the show, I was explaining my new schedule. I'm working with another guy here. He kind of helps me out with things, organizing, and trying to organize the schedule. It's going to work for me a little better. As you will know, I have and I'm not kidding you, Ed, I have 28 programs that I produced and wrote and did. And it's too many programs for a month. So I'm chalking all my programs down to the top 10 programs that I'm going to air, because I just don't have time for all the rest of them. Some shows are going to go away for a while, and we'll go into a archive of a list of the programs that I have, because I have them all listed on the computer on a document, so I know what programs are going and which ones are staying. And I'm taking them down to the top 10 best shows. And so I'm pulling from my audience here some of the best shows that are going to stay on the air and what shows are going to go off the air for a while. Now, the shows I'm going to keep on the air at this point are my main ones that I like to do the most. These are the programs like Way Out There, and radio, television, movie classics, crooners, my oldie shows. I got an 80s show I'm renaming called Back to the 80s. And a lot of shows are going to start changing. I'm going to be doing some different ones. And I'm going to be doing 2 days a week. I'm going to be doing programs from my other studio down at the Church of Christ. So there's going to be some days I'm going to be I'll be at a different location. And some days we're going to be over here at the main studio. And that'll be like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to be here at the main studios. Tuesdays and Thursdays I'll be at the Church of Christ studios. And some programs, like I said, are going to be on the air a lot of times. And then when I get up to, and I'll be reboosting, actually we'll be upgrading to the 3-hour plan starting in December when I do my Bright Holiday promotion for Christmas. That's when Gary J in the afternoon, Gary J in the morning will get turned over and become American Christmas Jukebox, and I'll be playing Christmas music. And the Gary Russen program will be on the air always. The Gary Russen program Saturday Extra is going to be kind of swinging around between two shows on Saturdays. And I'm going to be, now this is the last month pretty much for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Planning on the following, I'm on late in the day because of the Iowa Hawkeyes. But when the Hawkeyes are over, then we're going to be doing some full program days here on Spreaker
on Saturdays, especially when I get into the plan. When I get up to the 3-hour plan, there's going to be days where we're going to be doing 6-hour days, various different programs. I'm going to cut a lot of my music shows. I'm going to go back into the archives and pull out music shows in order of the last season of some of my music shows, and clipping out the weather and re-airing those programs as kind of a voice track. I'm going to be voice tracking some shows, pre-recording some other ones, and I'm going to be there are going to be some programs that are going to be pre-recorded and uploaded and scheduled to go public, because that little feature there on Spreaker is one of my favorites, and that's where I can put a podcast upload a podcast and then schedule it to go public. I love that feature. I do. I really enjoy that feature. And what I do is I schedule some podcasts to go public at a certain time, like my church services, which I do schedule for live airing. I'm going to do weather on the 5s anytime that ends in the hour of 5. I was going to go to Weather Nation, but I'm going to skip that this time round, and we'll do Weather Nation on the other side of the half hour. I'm going to be taking a program break here pretty soon with a flip over time, and do an ID, and be right back. I got more coming up as we continue the Gary Russen program, midweek edition here on GJRB Online. I hope you're enjoying the program wherever you're listening across the planet, wherever you're listening. And we have Ed Delgado in the studio. Welcome aboard, Ed. Thank you for being on the show. Love it when we got people in the chat room today. And we're going to be turning it over, but I hope you could still join me. I have to kind of flip it over, but I will be coming back. In this next segment, we'll continue the program. I'm going to take a half-hour hard break coming up here in just a little bit. And coming up in this next segment, we'll continue the news and scroll through social media and see who's out there. And see if we can get some more people in the chat room as well as we continue the Gary Russen program, midweek edition here on Spreaker. And have some more fun. So I hope you'll stay with me. And stay tuned for more of the Gary Russen program, midweek edition, here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker. Thank you a lot for tuning in, and we'll be bringing you more great internet talk radio here in just a little bit. And this next half hour, we'll tell you more about the program schedule. We'll do a review and talk about what we got coming up on Way Out There on Friday afternoon. Got a great show Friday afternoon. We're going to talk about it, so stay tuned. Yeah, Way Out There is my show in which I talk about the strange, the bizarre, the unusual, paranormal stuff, UFOs, Bigfoot, stuff like that. That's what I do on this Friday's show. Basically, the weird and unusual. It's a fun show. So we got a really good piece coming up on. I'll talk about it coming up next as we continue in just a minute here on GJRB.